If you're playing Path of Exile 2, then make sure that you get this cool looking armor set for free while it's still available. The way that you get the whole set is by playing the new Path of Exile's 1 league called Legacy of Fresha, and all you gotta do is level up from level 1 to level 80. Each piece of the set will be given to you upon reaching 4 milestones in the game, level 20, 40, 60, and 80. The cloak, however, used to be a Twitch drop, which unfortunately is not available anymore. Now, getting to level 80 in a game that you've never played before might sound a little bit scary, but it's a lot easier than you think, and I'm here to give you some quick tips on what you'll need to make your life a little bit easier so you can jump in and grab your armor set as quickly as you can. This set is obviously usable in both games, Path of Exile 1 and 2, so you can simply jump in, get the full set, and use it with your characters in PoE 2. So to start things off, obviously start downloading PoE 1, and while that's happening, get yourself the Path of Building software for PoE 1 too. The reason we need this is because we want to get to level 80 as fast as we can, and we will need Path of Building so we can grab a good leveling build and try cruising through the levels as fast as possible. Due to how complicated both Path of Exile's games are, Path of Building is a necessary tool that will help you understand your builds by giving you the full calculations of what's good and bad in your build. It has the abilities, the tree, notes, numbers, and much more. I will do a separate video in full details explaining Path of Building, as we will definitely need it in the near future for Path of Exiles 2. Now that both PoE and PoB are both installed and ready, we will need to find a good guide that we can import and use. You can research on Maxroll, Mobalytics, YouTube, and Google if you want something different, but right now I'll be using Fubgun's Shadow Leveling Guide. Once again, the link will be in the description below for you to check it out further. The class that we will be playing is this guy right here, the Shadow class. The guide we will be using helped me finish the campaign extremely fast, even though it was my first time. It primarily focuses on AoE damage as well as movement speed, which we will need to skip the majority of the campaign. So once we're here, we want to copy this guide from here and open up our PoB, click Import Export Build, add it at the bottom, and click Import. While you're leveling, you want to have PoB open on a separate window or monitor. When you level up, you want to click on the tree on the top left and follow the recommended path of the build. Make sure, however, that in the bottom corner of the tree you have selected the appropriate leveling bracket that you're on right now. So from level 1 to 12, you want to make sure the level 12 is selected. Once you hit level 12 and you added the final point, change that bracket to level 22. Keep doing this until you finish the whole tree. Second thing that we care about is the abilities, and you find those in the skills option next to the tree. On the top left, you will see the socket groups where you will see all the abilities that we care about throughout our leveling journey. Now, a good thing to know is the ability system in Path of Exile 1 is not the same as PoE 2. There are sockets that you add to your gear based on the socket color of your gear. Of course, everything is going to be explained to you while playing, but this is pretty important for you to understand the next part. So the main offensive clearing ability that we see here is called Cobra Lash. So when you left click on it, you will see which support gems you want on the right side. In this example, we have Chance to Poison, Volley, and Void Manipulation. So in the beginning, we need to find a piece of gear with at least 2 green sockets on it that are linked. Why green? Because the ability's color is green. And linked means that there's an arrow that links the 2 sockets and one of them is going to affect the other one. When you get any kind of gear with 2 linked green sockets in this case, you then add Cobra Lash on one of the sockets and Chance to Poison on the other one. To then add Volley or Void Manipulation, you will need to find another piece of gear with 3 or 4 green sockets that are all linked. The same idea applies to all of these abilities. A nice little trick to do in PoB so you know if you need your gear to be linked or not for these abilities is to hover your mouse over them in PoB. The support gems that are there to support the main abilities will have a highlighted effect on them, showing you that they need to be linked, like these 4 for example. If they're not linked in PoB, which means that you can use a piece of gear to add 2 or 3 different spells or auras, then it will look something like this. Herald of Agony, for example, is an aura. Summon Skitterbots is another aura, and Haste is a third aura. One does not affect the other. It's 3 different abilities. Therefore, you can place these skill gems in any socket of their color, regardless if it's linked or not. Now that we know how to use PoB in the most basic form, let's go ahead and create our character in PoE 1. You definitely want to select the new league and then create the class that you're going to go for. In my case, it's Shadow. Now, before we start leveling, we want to grab a final thing. We want to get a good loot filter so we don't need to deal with clutter on our screen that will slow us down. You could do this in two ways. Number one is go to Filter Blade just like in Poe2 and select Poe1 on the very top. Name your new default filter and sync it with the game. Then go to the game's interface and choose the new filter. This should be pretty familiar to you on how to do it, considering that we're using Filter Blade for Poe2 as well. The second option is even easier than this, and it's simply following Fubgun's Poe1 filter, which is dedicated to the build that we're using. In the description below, you will find another link to this filter. All you gotta do here is log in with your Poe account and click on follow on the filter. Once that's done, go to the game's interface and confirm that it's triggered. Everything now is ready for you to start leveling up. You've got a good filter to remove the clutter, you've got a detailed leveling guide in PoB that you can follow, and you've got your first target, which is to hit level 20 so you can unlock the first piece of armor. Remember, it's 20, 40, 60, and 80. The game's tutorial is going to help you understand some of the basics, but here are some bullet points that I wish I knew to make my run faster. 1. Don't overstay or try to clean the whole zone of the campaigns. Dash through and skip as many packs as you possibly can by simply focusing on finishing your quests. If you're 5 levels over level to the zone you're in, that means that you need to start skipping more stuff. 2. Use this site to understand what you need from each act and where you need to go next. Link is in the description. 3. Get yourself the main ability Cobra Lash and then focus on getting Withering Step as soon as possible so you can start dashing through stuff. There is always a vendor that sells abilities and support gems in the main cities. 4. If you ever feel stuck in the build, check the notes on PoB and it should help you figure things out, especially around level 60. Fubgun's leveling guide is up until level 60 because veterans would have finished all 10 acts by then. Just like myself, it might take you up till level 65 or higher before you finish the entire thing. For the last few points that are not on the guide, you can simply choose your own path that makes more sense, and it's not going to be a huge difference. And lastly, when you finish the leveling campaign, you will need a few more levels until you hit 80 so you can unlock the final piece of the set, which probably means that you need to transition into the endgame for the last few levels. And here, you've got two options. Keep going with the same build into tier 1 maps and just spam them until you hit level 80, or change your build entirely to the early endgame build and use that one until you reach level 80. All the links that you might need will be in the description below, and you can always ask any questions that you have in the comments below as well, or join our Discord community. Let me know how you did and if you got yourself the body armor. I really hope that this guide helps you out a little bit more to get some cool looking cosmetics for Poe2 before they are gone. Make sure to support the channel by subscribing and liking this video so you don't miss future guides and updates for Poe2. Thank you very much for the support and watching this video. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Peace.